Welcome to Wake Up to Wellness with Michelle Christman, and I'm so excited you're with us today. We're here to empower you, your friends, your family, and your loved ones to be healthy and well naturally. And the one thing that I love about health is that you were made to be well. You were made to function at a high level of health and vitality so that you can be the best you ever. And in today's world, we come upon more stresses than the body's ability to adapt. And they're broken down into three types: physical, chemical, and emotional. Physical stresses are things such as how many hours do you sit behind your desk? How long do you stand on your feet? Or for me, I have the most beautiful daughter. How long do I carry her, on my hips? And also, when we go shopping, I have a really cool carrier that I strap her into. And sometimes I will hold her for hours as we go and walk. And that's a huge physical stress, even though I'm so happy about it because I love to have her in my arms and kissing and hugging her and have her laugh. And there are good stresses and there are bad stresses, and we're going to start to talk about that. Chemical stresses are things such as, what are you putting in your body? Are you drinking real water? Are you eating real foods? Or are you eating foods that are packaged and out of boxes? What about vaccinations? Are you doing neurotoxic chemical stresses and creating and thinking that those are things that produce health? And the reality is, I ask you to just simply look at the research. You can look up www.nvic.org, and you can also look up Dr. Sherry Tenpenny. She's one of the few medical doctors throughout the world that has studied over 6,000 hours on vaccinations. Always look at the good, look at the bad, and make choices and decisions for yourself and for your family. A chemical stress is also, what about the air and the toxins that we breathe? The other thing I want you to think about too are emotional stresses. This is such an amazing time of the year, but oftentimes people start to think to themselves, what are the things that I'd love to improve in my life and in their health? What are the things that I'd love to do so that I could be even better? And I ask you to start to think about this. How do you want your life to really function and work? How do you want to be the best you ever? And emotional stresses can be financial stresses. They can be relationship stresses. And they can also be simply driving down the road and somebody cuts you off. That can be an emotional stress. And over time, that combination of physical, chemical, and emotional stresses create what I call the straw that broke the camel's back. That creates a nerve system interference, a muscle imbalance, and your vertebrae move over your lifetime. And that slows down and stops the signals to every single organ, tissue, and cell in the body, to the brain, to the body, and back again. And I ask you to think about this. If we have these societal beliefs of brushing our teeth, of going to the pediatrician for our well baby visits, then what's the societal belief of chiropractic? See, in my world, in my thought and process, from the years of research that I've done, what I've learned is that you live your life through your central nervous system. Literally, it's the first organ created when you were conceived. And how important do you think that is to your health and to your children's health? It literally controls every single organ, tissue, and cell, sends signals to the brain, to the body, and back again. And the only profession that restores this connection to the organs, to the brain, to the body, and back again, so that there's clear connection, so there's clear healing, is the chiropractor. And for many people, they have a lot of negative references for a chiropractor. But I'm here to tell you that I've spent the last 15 years watching my husband, Dr. Evan R. Christman, not only adjust, but study and perfect the art of chiropractic. And I'm here to tell you that there are thousands and thousands of chiropractors just like him that do the same for their communities. And today we're talking to one of the most amazing gentlemen that I know. He's a motivational speaker. He's an author. His name is Dave Major. And I've known Dave for a long time. And he's not only going to empower you to be well naturally and tell you his story that's flat out amazing, but also we're going to start to talk about New Year's resolutions. Why is it so important to spend the time investing in your health so that you can take care of everybody else like you normally do? But also to learn the amazing tips of how you can be the healthiest you can be this new year. And we're going to take a quick commercial break. I can't wait for you to meet Dave Major.
Christman Family Chiropractic, a creating wellness center located at 2310 Churchville Road, Suite C in Bel Air, is enhancing lives through the power of a chiropractic adjustment. As a licensed chiropractor in Maryland and Pennsylvania, Dr. Evan Christman can correct damage from years of lifestyle stresses while educating you to maintain good health for your lifetime. A dedicated professional with a very special focus on children with learning differences and autism, Dr. Christman treats people of all ages: newborn babies, children, pregnant women, families, seniors, and professional golfers. Isn't it time for you to reclaim your life? Take your first step toward health and vitality today. Call Christman Family Chiropractic, a creating wellness center, at 410-734-4060, and let their experienced staff show you how to restore the flow of life. 410-734-4060, or check them out at restorelifeflow.com.
Welcome back to Wake Up to Wellness with Michelle Christman, and I'm so excited you're with us today. We're here to empower you, your friends, your family, and your loved ones to be healthy and well naturally. And the one thing that I love about health is that you were made to be well. You were made to function at a high level of health and vitality so that you can be the best you ever. And today we're talking to motivational speaker and author Dave Major. Dave, welcome to Wake Up to Wellness with Michelle Christman.
Thank you, Dr. Michelle. You are an honourary doctor.
Thank you.
Yes, definitely.
I appreciate it.
I am pleased. For 30 years, I've been speaking around the world, and I love empowering. My mission is empowering lives to impact life, and I love it so much. And in fact, you're talking about chiropractic. The funny thing is, years ago, when my main goal in life was to be a pro football player, and blew my knee out, and was playing football in college, and so plan B, I did for years, and my arm went numb, and my best friend's a chiropractor saying, "Hey, why don't you get adjusted?" I'm like, "Oh, you're a quack." Well, when they said surgery, I said, "Hey, quack, crack." He said, "It's not a crack house, crack kills." I said, "Oh, whatever, just adjust me then, or whatever you guys do." Amazingly, I'd never had surgery. I'm almost 60 years old, and I'm as healthy as can be, and through constant chiropractic care, making sure that the vertebrae are moving, the nerves are functioning, and it's a beautiful thing. I saw, and many of you have seen the commercial on TV, a body that stays inactive. That's inactive stays inactive. A body in motion stays in motion. Well, same thing with the vertebrae. Vertebrae that don't move, they stay unmovable. So adjustments, keep. Motion's life, stillness is death. So it adds life to the body, and it's amazing. We got some tests. We do preventative tests and do our normal at our age. And they said, "You don't take any medications?" I'm like, "No." That's really weird. Most people, you and your wife's age, are on 5 to 10 medications. And I'm like, "No, we do wellness. Wellness care is not doing something for a reason; is doing something to prevent a reason."
Isn't that the truth? And Dave, I've got to tell you, you entered our life in such an amazing way. We went to a group. It's by Chiropractic Leadership Alliance, and it's called Total Solution. And if you're a chiropractor or a chiropractic spouse or a chiropractic assistant listening to this, you need to go to Total Solution. And I remember my husband coming home, and it's in Colorado. It's an absolutely amazing transformational weekend. And I remember him telling me about the guy that licked his nose. And I said, "What? A guy licked your nose? What are you talking about?" And I was fortunate enough to go to Total Solution, I think maybe a few months later, maybe it was 6 months later, and I met you, and I heard your story. And I'm pretty certain that, I think it was between you and then a Dr. Steve Hoffman, I was in tears. Talk to me about why you do what you do, and what motivates you to empower the world to do great things for themselves.
Well, because of my life, my personal life. My personal life was not the best, and life's all about choices. My mom had ran away with a gentleman when I was in 4th grade, and I grew up without a mom. And in the early 60s, that's I had no clue where she is, and to say, "Where's your mom?" and you don't know is very hard on a 10-year-old, a 9-year-old coming home and by himself to an empty house. My older brothers were gone. So, I made a conscious choice, because I in those 3 or 4 years following was left on, not unintended completely, but still, I ate a lot. I actually was almost 200 pounds by the time I was in 6th grade.
Oh my gosh!
And got laughed at and for being overweight and made fun of because I couldn't catch them. They'd throw stuff at me and they'd run away and I didn't like my life, and I just was like, and I had no one really to encourage me. And I went through this myself, and I just made a conscious decision at a young age. If I don't like my life, no one's going to help me but me.
Wow.
So I start running at night around the block when it was dark outside, and so no one could see me. And as I kept running and kept focusing on my goal of changing my life as a little kid, I started losing weight, got taller. Actually ended up, ironically, breaking my brother's 100-yard dash record.
Oh,
So I went
wow.
from the slowest, in 1970, and it never was broken ever. Because like 25 years later, they changed the meters, so no one's ever going to break it. But became all-state quarterback, and I'm not saying that to say, look at me. I'm saying, I made a conscious choice. I didn't like my life, so I had two choices: stay in that same abusive pattern and say, poor me, or boom, change it. So what doesn't kill you defines who you are. So what I did was I just said, you know what? I know there's thousands, millions of people out there like that are going through that. So now I've even gone to schools. I went to my daughter's school to speak right before testing, and she heard me. I've been going to a couple of schools the year before. She'd come to my 4th grade class. Well, real quick story. I'm looking at these kids, thinking, what am I doing before in 4th grade? And that was my most horrific year when my mom left. And I told the story. I said, kids, I'm sorry, but I'm a little bit the clump. I'm a little upset here. I realized in 4th grade President Kennedy was assassinated, and then a month later my mom left. And for a little kid without any counseling, I thought, wow, life's not the best thing here. So I told the story. Well, I'm thinking, right before testing, no big deal. They're going to get pumped up. I believe I can fly and stuff. Well, guess what? In 31 years, because I said, if you say you can and say you can't, you're right. Have a great attitude and you'll succeed. They had the highest scores ever in 31 years on testing.
Oh,
These kids were like, game face. Yeah, I can do it.
Now talk to me about game face. What does that mean?
Game face, it started back when I was in high school. At church one time, the preacher said, I'm a little bit upset with you. Well, as an 18-year-old, I'm thinking, why are you upset? Because he said, you're the nicest boy. You walk to church and stuff. And I said, well, he says, well, the first, I tell everybody I'm standing, some people stand in the bleachers in high school games, some along the fence, So he said, I'm standing along the fence and telling everybody, oh, here comes Dave Major. He's the nicest kid. He helps at church. He's just the most giving, nice kid. And I said, so what's the problem? He goes, well, when you went through the fence, I'm saying, hi, Dave, hi, and you ignored me, and everybody laughed, like, yeah, he's a nice kid. And I said, oh, I'm sorry, Pastor. I said, I have my game face on. He goes, what's game face? I said, when I wake up in the morning, I know if I'm going to succeed in the game of football or a game of life, I have to have my head in the game and my game face on. I should have patented this because now everybody says it. This is like 40 years ago, but it doesn't matter. And I said, so when I wake up, my mind's thinking, I'm visualizing me scoring touchdowns. I did have the most touchdowns in the league. I had the most yards. And I said, but if my head's not in the game and I'm thinking elsewhere and I'm focused, and so he goes, no wonder. He said, because even the second game, you kind of pushed me out of the way. And I'm like, oh, no, God's going to strike me down. I pushed the pastor. How many prayers I need to say? He says, oh, man. So what happens is many years later, my son is a captain with these other three guys. And he goes, Dad, why were you so successful? He says, we've been 50-50. And I learned a long time ago that I could tell my son a lot of stuff, unless until you want something, you're not going to really change. So he finally says, what can we do to be successful? And I said, get your game face on. And I told him the story. Well, the next day, it was very emotional. My son, the next day on Thursday, he goes, Dad, I need to ask you something. The guys, can they come over and get them pumped up for the game, get their game face on? I said, sure. Well, he wakes me up, said they'll be here in 10 minutes. So I just put a hat on and kind of stretching, and I hear a car pull up. I thought there's one, car pull two, and then three. I go, okay, all three captains are here. I hear more cars. I peek out the blinds, and the whole team is out there, like 30, 40 cars. And I'm getting all emotional. If you ever played sports, you know that jockey, and you go, it's game day. So I go out, and I'm like, they're all looking at me, and I go, on the count of three, we'll do game face 3 times. So I'm like, 1, 2, 3, game face, 1, 2, 3, game face, 1, 2, 3, game face. And these kids go from like, duh, like where their shoulders kind of slump, like, what's going on, to their shoulders back, their heads up high, and the look on their face is like, yeah, game day. You see, so what happens is they get prepared all day with that game face, not just 2 minutes before the game, because even in pro sports, you read anything, it's all about the mental preparation, you know, and you got to get your game face on, your head in the game and game face on. And I'm not just talking about game, I'm talking about relationships. I don't want to get emotional, I'm an emotional guy, you know me, but this July will be 40 years I'm married.
Oh,
40
congratulations.
Years.
Round of applause. That's
Yeah,
fabulous.
yes.
And, you know, I know she's such a blessing. I've heard you know, you've stayed in our home when you were in town here, and she is such an absolutely amazing lady. You know, you're so blessed, and I've never had the pleasure of meeting her, but I know she's wonderful. And you also gave us, which I absolutely love, most wonderful, wonderful stuffed animal that turns into a blankie for my daughter, and I'm so grateful for that. That's in her bedroom. So tell me about her. You know, I've heard the story of how when your wife was pregnant and maybe one of your children, something was going on with them. Talk to me about chiropractic. What's that connection?
Happen, and this is where what doesn't kill you defines you. My wife being pregnant real quick, we found out near the end of pregnancy she started having some double vision and hearing loss. She had a massive brain tumor, and she had a grand mal seizure after my daughter was born. Well, you know, thank the Lord, she went through surgery. It was a miracle because they said God really had to be with the surgeon. She was okay. She, to this day, has no hearing in one ear and has no tears in one eye, but she's beautiful as can be. She's just precious. Well, we got through that. Well, 2.5 years later, my daughter, my wife says, hey, before you play racquetball, come home. Your little girl's she's acting weird. So I thought, oh, you know how mothers overreact. Well, my daughter was like looking beyond me and like lethargic, and here she had spinal meningitis and almost died. And you know, the preacher come in and prayed for her. We had many prayers, and she came through. It was a miracle there. And my 8-month-old son Michael, who's a youth pastor now, he's 34 years old. My daughter's 36 now. He came down with meningitis also, and he almost died. So, but what happens is, again, God never gives you more than you can handle, and you know, if you're prepared, you know, each day you never know what's going to be thrown at you in life. So when I get up, you know, I do my devotions, I armor up, put on the armor of God, I get my game face on, because we worry so much about other stuff, which is important to eat right and stuff, but it's the whole balance of life, you know, and that's what I do now. I do seminars for people to balance their lives out, to realize that you need to be healthy mentally, physically, spiritually, because guess what? Life's going to throw you some ups and downs, but if you have your game face on and you're ready, you're prepared, then guess what? When something happens, you're going to respond better, because life's all about 10% of what happens to us and 90% how we react.
Isn't that the truth? And, you know, Dave, we're going to take a quick commercial break because I want to start to delve into New Year's resolutions. You know, everything we've been talking about has been leading us down this path of not only us being truly responsible and loving and part of our life, you know, showing up, waking up in the morning, putting our game face on, being the best mom I can be, the best wife I can be, the best chiropractic assistant, the best radio show host, and at the end of the day, loving myself. And I want to start to delve into why is it so important to not only start to head down this path of empowering yourself to be well naturally, showing up at the chiropractor's office, getting adjusted, but also being the best you ever. And we're going to take a quick commercial break. I can't wait for you to hear amazing information from Dave Major.
Christman Family Chiropractic, a creating wellness center located at 2310 Churchville Road, Suite C in Bel Air, is enhancing lives through the power of a chiropractic adjustment. As a Maryland and Pennsylvania, Dr. Evan Christman can correct damage from years of lifestyle stresses while educating you to maintain good health for your lifetime. A dedicated professional with a very special focus on children with learning differences and autism, Dr. Christman treats people of all ages, newborn babies, children, pregnant women, families, seniors, and professionals professional golfers. Isn't it time for you to reclaim your life? Take your first step toward health and vitality today. Call Christman Family Chiropractic, a creating wellness center at 410-734-4060 and let their experienced staff show you how to restore the flow of life. 410-734-4060 or check them out at restorelifeflow.com.
Welcome back to Wake Up to Wellness with Michelle Christman, and I'm so excited you're with us today. We're here to empower you, your friends, your family, and your loved ones to be healthy and well naturally. And today we're talking to one of the most amazing motivational speakers and authors. His name is Dave Major. Dave, welcome back to Wake Up to Wellness with Michelle Christman.
Thank you, Michelle.
You are welcome. So, Dave, you know, I've got to say that New Year's resolutions, they're so interesting because most people have them. You know, they're like peanuts, right? And
yeah.
But in the same token, people start things. They get all excited about it, and in turn, 3 weeks, a month, 2 months, more than likely, definitely by March, it's all over with and forgotten, and they're back to their same habits. Why is it so important to see this in a new light? Why is it so important for people to really not only empower themselves, but to believe in themselves and show up every single day and be the best they can be?
Well, that's a very good point because they keep doing the same thing. And you know what insanity is, doing the same thing and getting the same result or expecting different results. And what happens is those become incompletes in our life. You know, incomplete is like, oh, every time you open the closet, you see how messy and like, oh, I got to do that. But you shut the door, and that's something that's not completed. Do you ever know when you get a task done how those endorphins are released in your body, and you go like, yes, I did it, you know? I teach my grandkids this too. When they have something to do, I say, get it done, and then when you do, celebrate. Like, yes. It's a sense of accomplishment. So this incomplete is just another emotional stress, and you talked about stresses at the beginning. So I got I have 4 nice steps, and that I use that I've been using the last couple of years because I have the same issue, so I can identify with that. I was, we had my mother-in-law for years, and I got out of balance with my eating and exercise, and gained some weight, but now I've lost almost 50 pounds. I never thought I'd wear 36s again ever, and now I'm down. They're getting baggy. I mean, I can wear size 34. So my wife is like, well, you look like you're back in college again. I'm like, thank you. So let me go over the 4 steps real quickly. One, we need to assess our life, and so we're going to look at our life, number one, and we're going to look at 2 things. We're going to assess current boundaries on how, on what you're doing in your life and the boundaries that you need to tighten up and change. Because if you don't change the boundaries, you just, like you said, slide right back into the old habits. Then 2, you got to identify desired changes in life. Identify with them. Like, what is my actual desired changes that I want to create, and write those down. So assess the situation. Because all we do is make a list and say, oh, I'm going to do this, but you're not assessing your life. So assess your life with the current boundaries and your desired changes. Number 2, be aware. Now let's look at the inner. Let's go deeper. The inner life. Identify the beliefs that drives your behavior. What are the beliefs that drive your behavior? Because you need to change those beliefs or those thoughts. Because, your thoughts create your actions your habit. Your habits become character, and the character your destiny. So if you want your goals to change the destiny where you're heading, you got to change your beliefs. So see what those beliefs are, and you got to change those beliefs within, and start to write them down, and start to say the different beliefs, and start to program yourself, because we are the fruit of our words. So you need to do that. And second part of awareness of your inner life is what restraints are within you. What is restraining you? So, it's kind of like the first one is the gas. What's the gas? The foot on the gas driving your beliefs, that drives your behavior. Now, what is the one that's on the brake? What is restraining you? And it's usually fear, okay? Fear that you're not going to accomplish. So here's the thing. This is an amazing fact, that if you have fear or you have faith in accomplishing this, guess what? You put the same energy into both of those. So why not put your energy into the faith that you're going to succeed? You know the old saying that the master sensei said, there's 2 tigers inside you, son, and I know which one is going to win. One's good, one's evil. And they go, which one's going to win? How do you know? He goes, the one you feed. The one you feed. So please, feed faith, have faith, have those words of faith. and accomplishment and be positive, because what you do say you are. Number 3, action. You see, here's the biggest one of the biggest problems. Knowledge, everybody says, is power. It's not power. It's potential power. All the stuff that you're saying in these programs every week, if people don't implement those, see, wisdom, the definition of wisdom is knowledge rightly applied. If you apply the knowledge that Michelle Christman, these listeners, that have been telling you, guess what? It'll come to fruition in your life and it'll change your life. So you need to know that you need to put into action the things that you're hearing today with me, with Michelle, and because then you'll see it become evident in your life. But when we look at the interlife, when we take action in our interlife, we need to know it's not just about us. If you want to lose weight, or you want to exercise, or get healthier, or financially healthier, do whatever, guess what? Your decisions today about making goals for this year and resolutions are going to affect all the people that are tied into your interlife, your spouses, your friends, your family, your loved ones, okay? But also under that, the significant other people in your life, you need to identify the relationships that you have with them too, because they're going to be your support cast. Okay, you need to identify those relationships and have them support you and realize that if there's anything in between the relationships that you need to deal with, because those are your core people around your inner circle. The last one, you got to infuse these first 3 steps that I'm telling you about, and that's create an action plan for not only home, work, self, but all 3 areas of your whole life, because you cannot make a goal just for one area in your life and not permeate through your personal life, because my whole goal is empowering the personal, impacting the professional. And whether you're a professional or not, you got to start with you. So create an action plan of what you're doing. After you assess your life, you assess the stuff that's stopping you or driving you and change that, and then look at your interlife, the people around you, and your significant other, and deal with those things in your life, and then also then infuse all of this with a plan. And then the biggest thing is have accountability. No one has accountability. If I don't tell you, Michelle, I'm going to do something, guess what? And no one knows the plans I made or the resolutions I made, guess what? I can easily shrink back and not accomplish them. So, you do these, I would say 1, 2, 3, 4, watch you soar. Assess your life. Be aware of your inner life, what's holding you back. Be aware of the outer life, the interlife of the people in your life, and then just take action and continue that. Realize that it's a process. It takes small baby steps. Get your game face on. Be resilient. Enjoy this new journey you have, because people look at it as a chore. And anything with a chore is not fun to do, is it?
Not at all. And, I've got to say, the one thing that keeps going into my head that I keep hearing too, and I see it in the community, I see that as much as we all have such wonderful intentions and we really want to move forward and have the best life ever, I'm noticing my daughter wants to be like me. My daughter wants to be like my husband. She emulates and she follows what I'm doing. And I've watched in the community lately, and I don't know if parents realize this, but you are being watched. What you do matters. And I heard this a long time ago. Many people think it's I want to have this, I want to have that. But you have to be the person that does the activities to have the end results. And I know I learned that from Total Solution.
Right,
and
be, do, have.
Be,
yes.
do, and have. And what I'm here to say is believe in yourself. Show up. Be that person that you're supposed to be. Be the best you can possibly be. Do those activities. Show up and actually blaze that path. And then you get to have your end results. I'm committed to my health. I'm going to be in the best shape that I've ever been this year. And I'm actually putting money to my mouth. I'm going to be writing a check for $2,500. And I'm going to start to talk about this next week as to what I'm going to be doing and how I'm asking our community to join along with me to changing their life. And it's simply to learn how to do things naturally, because that's how the body functions and works. So, Dave, tell me, how can people reach you? And thank you for all your information. You're so amazing.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. They can easily go to my website, and it's Dave, and it's MAGER, MAGER, gameface.com. And then from there you can hit, you can go to my website, but also you can also go Dave Major Gameface, the same 4 words, and hit at Gmail to just directly Gmail me, to email me. Gmail me and tweet me, link me, whatever, and I can answer any questions you might have, a personal question or something that I need to clarify. I know we're on a time crunch here, but I would love to encourage you and give you some tips, and I'm always open for anything, because that's my whole life's mission. And like I said, my wife supports me. She loves the letters we get and people saying, I finally accomplished this for the first time. And you know, a lot of times we just need to look at those things in our lives and make a change. And it's all about choices. And you can choose to stay and remain in the same, or you can choose to change. And my prayer for you this year is that for once you're going to make a change. And the biggest thing is get the why behind it. You know, I have 4 grandkids, 2 foster kids. My son's going to adopt from Nicaragua, a little baby girl. He's a youth pastor. I mean, I want to be around for my kids and my great-grandkids. So the why that drives me on certain things is my family, and that's what, if you have the big why behind it, you'll comply. So make sure the why, and read that why every day. And again, every day start off with getting mentally prepared, your game face on, and I'm telling you what, you will succeed. And I just appreciate the opportunity to share this with you today.
Thank you, Dave Major. You're wonderful. And I can't wait for you to tune in next Saturday. We've got amazing information for you to flat out be the best you ever. And you're listening to me live every Saturday from 8:30 till 9 in the morning. It's Wake Up to Wellness with Michelle Christman on WAMD 970, WYRE 810, WKHZ 1460, WJSS 1330, and you can watch me on KHZTV.com. That's KHZTV.com. Take great care of your health and game face.
All right.